Hey everyone! Stack lessons here. The 6 advantages of cloud computing and cloud economics trips up a lot of students, so today we're going to make it crystal clear. Let's go. Picture this. Your engineer just spent 5 minutes explaining VPC peering to a CFO who wanted to know one thing: why are we paying for this? By the end of this video, you'll have the 6-word answers finance actually wants. You'll be able to explain CapEx versus OpEx without reaching for an instance type, and you'll know which Amazon Web Services tool to open when someone asks you to model the real cost of going to the cloud. Quick bridge from episode 1. We covered the exam format and scoring there. Today we go deep on the economics half of the cloud concepts domain. That's where this topic lives. Let's get into the actual material. Before we get into the 6 advantages, let's pin down 5 terms you'll see throughout this video. CapEx is capital expenditure, upfront spending on long-lived assets like servers, depreciated over multiple years. OpEx is operational expenditure, the ongoing day-to-day costs like utilities, salaries, and cloud usage charges. Total cost of ownership, or TCO, is the full lifetime cost of running infrastructure, hardware, power, cooling, real estate, and labor all included. Economies of scale describes how a provider aggregating demand from many customers can push per unit costs down. And elasticity is the ability to automatically add or remove capacity to match real-time demand, instead of forecasting it months ahead. Back to that pitch meeting. Code Gorillas is talking a startup client through migrating off their colocation contract. The CFO leans forward and asks one scenario: why are we moving to the cloud? The engineer launches into EC2 instance types, AMIs, and VPC peering. The CFO's eyes glaze over. Wrong audience, wrong vocabulary, and now the deal is stalling. She asked an economics question. She needs an economics answer, and that's exactly what the next 10 minutes are about. This is the move most engineers miss. We default to features because features are what we build. But when finance asks why cloud, they want to hear about cash flow, flexibility, and unit costs. Flipping that script, talking economics when the room is asking economics, is the real practitioner skill, and Amazon Web Services has codified the script for you into 6 advantages and a small vocabulary of cost concepts. Here they are, in order, exactly as Amazon Web Services publishes them in the official overview white paper. 1. Trade fixed expense for variable expense. 2. Benefit from massive economies of scale. 3. Stop guessing capacity. 4. Increase speed and agility. 5. Stop spending money running and maintaining data centers. And 6. Go global in minutes. We'll take them one at a time. For now, just notice the shape of the list: 3 about money, 3 about speed and reach. Before we go deeper, here's why the precise wording in these 6 advantages matters. Each phrase encodes a real engineering distinction. Stop guessing capacity implies you've built dynamic scaling that adjusts in real time. Predict capacity implies you've done static forecasting and committed to a number, a completely different architecture. Go global in minutes describes deploying into existing regions. Go global in hours or days describes something Amazon Web Services doesn't actually offer. Trade fixed for variable describes the cost model shift. Trade variable for fixed describes a long-term reservation, which is the opposite move. The exam tests this distinction by offering near-miss distractors, so the words you remember need to match the engineering reality. Advantage 1. Straight from the Amazon Web Services Overview White Paper. Instead of investing heavily in data centers and servers before you know how you're going to use them, you pay only when you consume resources, and only for how much you consume. The 2 phrases to lock in are pay only when you consume, and pay only for how much. Either one in a question stem is pointing you at advantage 1. Here's why fixed to variable is the right lens for advantage 1. When your cost is fixed, you're doing capital budgeting, you buy hardware upfront, depreciate it over years, and justify the spend with a multi-year forecast. When your cost is variable, you're doing operational budgeting, you pay for actual consumption this month, and you can adjust next month. That's a fundamentally different way to plan and approve spend. On the left, the canonical phrasings all point to that shift: pay only when you consume, pay only for how much, no upfront data center investment. Now look at the right column. The CapEx to OpEx swap is a real accounting outcome that follows from the fixed to variable shift, but it's not how Amazon Web Services frames the advantage itself. Reversing the direction, variable for fixed, describes a long-term reservation, which is the opposite move. Vague claims about predictable bills miss the point, and you're not eliminating all IT spending, you're changing the shape of it. This distinction shows up on scenario questions. Advantage 2, verbatim. Because usage from hundreds of thousands of customers is aggregated in the cloud, providers like Amazon Web Services can achieve higher economies of scale, which translates into lower pay-as-you-go prices. The economics here are concrete. When you aggregate demand from hundreds of thousands of customers onto shared infrastructure, three things happen: fixed costs, data center construction, networking gear, power infrastructure get spread across a much larger revenue base, so the per-customer share drops. Amazon Web Services negotiates hardware and energy contracts at a scale no single company could match, and utilization stays high because one customer's idle capacity becomes another customer's peak. Those savings flow back as lower pay-as-you-go prices. If you hear hundreds of thousands of customers in a scenario, you're recognizing this principle at work. Think of it like Costco. Costco buys 10,000 rolls of paper towels at once and gets a per-roll price no household could ever negotiate. Amazon Web Services does the same thing with servers, power, and bandwidth, but the bulk buying is on behalf of hundreds of thousands of customers. Your two-server startup pays the Costco unit price even though, on your own, you'd be buying retail. And the proof this isn't just marketing: Amazon Web Services has cut service prices well over 100 times since launching in 2006, with no customer renegotiation required. Advantage 3 says to eliminate guessing on infrastructure capacity needs. You can access as much or as little capacity as you need, and scale up or down with only a few minutes' notice. Here's why the verb stop guessing is the right framing. In the on-prem world, you predict capacity, you forecast peak load 18 months out, buy hardware to cover it, and then run at 20 to 30% utilization most of the time. That's a huge amount of wasted hardware sitting idle. Cloud lets you stop guessing because you scale dynamically. Capacity follows actual demand minute by minute. That's not a vocabulary preference. It's the difference between static forecasting and elastic infrastructure, and it changes how you architect every workload. A distractor that says predict capacity is describing the old model. Here's why this advantage matters in production. Code Gorillas has a retail client whose Thanksgiving through Cyber Monday window drives 60 to 65% of annual online sales. Traffic spikes to 4 to 6 times normal levels for one weekend. In the on-prem world, that retailer had to buy servers back in March, sized for the November peak, and the other 364 days of the year, roughly 70% of that hardware sat idle. That's the exact waste the cloud is built to eliminate. The numbers make this concrete. Industry studies of on-prem data centers consistently put average server utilization in the 12 to 18% range, call it 15%, which means roughly 85% of the capital cost is sitting idle most of the year. With elastic cloud capacity, you can run much closer to actual demand, call it 95% utilization, because the platform adds and removes capacity as the workload moves. That gap between 15 and 95 is the dollar value of Advantage 3. One distinction worth holding onto: stop guessing capacity is the business advantage. Auto-scaling and elasticity are the technical mechanism that delivers it. The exam might test either side. If the question is framed in business language, the answer is the advantage. If it asks how Amazon Web Services actually achieves it, the answer is auto-scaling. Advantage 4 is increased speed and agility. The official framing goes like this: new IT resources are only a click away, which reduces the time to make those resources available to developers from weeks to just minutes. Think about what those weeks actually were in the on-prem world. They were procurement cycles, purchase orders, vendor quotes, shipping, racking, cabling, network configuration. The bottleneck was never the engineering work. It was the budgeting and hardware logistics. Cloud collapses that whole cycle into an API call because the infrastructure is already deployed and waiting. The practical impact is that experimentation becomes cheap. You can spin up a test environment, prove an idea doesn't work, tear it down, and try something else, all in an afternoon. That iteration speed is what weeks to minutes actually buys you, and it's how you'll recognize this advantage when you see it. Walk this timeline. In the on-prem world, you start with a request for budget approval. That's weeks. Then you order the hardware, and the vendor lead time is typically 6 to 8 weeks. Then your ops team has to rack it, cable it, and configure it. That's days of labor. 3 steps, easily 2 months, and you haven't written a line of application code yet. In the cloud, all 3 steps collapse into one. Click deploy, and minutes later the resources are running. That collapse is what makes experimentation cheap enough to actually do. Advantage 5 is about what you stop doing. The white paper's framing is that cloud lets you focus on your own customers, rather than on the heavy lifting of racking, stacking, and powering servers. Lionsgate is the case study Amazon Web Services itself cites. By migrating, they avoided acquiring additional data center space and saved over $1 million across 3 years. That's a clean dollar figure you can drop straight into a business pitch. Here's the number that makes Advantage 5 concrete. Lionsgate saved roughly $1 million over 3 years after moving off self-managed infrastructure. That savings came from exactly what the white paper describes. They stopped racking, stacking, and powering servers, and redirected that effort into the work that actually differentiates a media company. When a scenario question gives you a dollar figure tied to infrastructure operations, that's the advantage being tested. Advantage 6 is go global in minutes. The white paper says you can deploy your application in multiple regions around the world with just a few clicks, providing lower latency and a better experience for customers at minimal cost. The reality behind this advantage is that Amazon Web Services has already done the hard part. They've spent years and billions of dollars building physical regions, data centers, fiber, power, cooling, networking, across the world. Once a region exists, you deploy into it in minutes through an API call. That's the asymmetry. Building a region is a multi-year capital project for Amazon Web Services. Using one is a minutes-long deployment for you. Your customers care about your deployment speed, not Amazon Web Services' construction timeline, which is why the canonical wording focuses on minutes, and the exam tests this nuance by swapping minutes for hours or days. Quick checkpoint. You've now seen all 6 advantages in Amazon Web Services' exact wording, in order. A handy mnemonic from the study community is TBSISG: trade, benefit, stop guessing, increase, stop spending, go global. The first letter of each advantage, in order. From here, we switch gears. The list tells you what cloud delivers. The next section tells you why it works, in language a finance team can use, starting with CapEx versus OpEx, then TCO, then the actual tools you'd use to model the comparison. Side by side, CapEx, capital expenditure, is upfront spending on long-lived assets like servers, networking gear, or real estate. It gets depreciated over 3 to 5 years, sits on the balance sheet as an asset, and locks your cash up before you know whether the demand will materialize. OpEx, operational expenditure, is the ongoing day-to-day cost of running the business. Utility bills, salaries, and yes, your Amazon Web Services usage. It gets expensed in the period you incur it, hits the income statement monthly, and scales up and down as the business does. The CapEx to OpEx shift is what your CFO actually means when she says cloud gives her financial flexibility. If the accounting terms feel abstract, here's the everyday version. CapEx is buying a house, huge down payment, you own the roof, and on paper you're building equity, but you're also stuck with it whether your family grows or shrinks. OpEx cloud is renting an apartment by the month, smaller checks, no equity, but if you need more space next quarter you sign a new lease, no demolition crew required. Neither is universally better. They're different trade-offs, and the cloud gives you the second trade-off as a default. Here's the governance reality behind the CapEx to OpEx shift. A variable cost model gives you the ability to spend less, but it doesn't automatically make you spend less. Without right-sizing instances, monitoring idle resources, and setting up budget alerts, topics we'll cover in the EC2 pricing video, your OpEx bills can actually exceed what on-prem would have cost. So the shift isn't a guaranteed discount, it's financial flexibility that has to be actively managed. That's what the FinOps discipline exists for. FinOps practitioners point out that cloud spend can be cut by 15% in 30 days when you need to, where you can't uninstall a server you already bought. That's the real value finance teams pay for, the ability to flex within a single month, paired with the practices that ensure flexibility actually translates into savings. Here's what total cost of ownership actually contains. At the top, the sticker price of the server, the number on the purchase order. Below that, the infrastructure costs that come with running it, power to keep it on, cooling to keep it from melting, real estate for the floor space, and networking gear to connect it. And below those, the operational costs, admin labor to maintain it, security to protect it, and the refresh cycle every 3 to 5 years when you replace it. Add all of that up and you get the green box at the bottom. That total is what you compare against the cloud bill. If you've ever priced a swimming pool, you already understand TCO. The sticker price of the pool is the small part. You also pay for water to fill it, chemicals to keep it clean, the pool guy who shows up every 2 weeks, electricity for the pump that runs all summer, and the corner of your yard you can't use for anything else. That hidden bundle is exactly what makes on-prem look cheap on paper and expensive in reality. TCO is the number that shows up when you stop ignoring everything except the sticker. So when finance asks you to model the comparison, which tool do you reach for? The current answer is the Amazon Web Services pricing calculator, which lives at calculator.aws. It's free, web-based, and you don't even need an Amazon Web Services account. You model the specific workloads you plan to run, and it produces a shareable estimate you can hand to finance and procurement. For the on-prem side of the comparison, pair it with Migration Evaluator, which inventories your existing environment and builds the business case. One quick note on older material: the standalone Amazon Web Services TCO calculator has been retired. If you see it referenced in legacy study guides, that's outdated. Pricing calculator is the answer today. Here's a clean split that maps to exam questions. Before deployment, when you're answering what would we spend, use the pricing calculator to build cost estimates and model TCO, and pair it with Migration Evaluator for the on-prem inventory side. After deployment, when you're answering what are we actually spending, use Cost Explorer to analyze trends, and Amazon Web Services budgets to alert when forecast exceeds thresholds. Different question, different tools. The Q in the question stem is the tense. Quick checkpoint: you've got the 6 advantages verbatim. You've got CapEx to OpEx as financial flexibility rather than a guaranteed discount, and you've seen how TCO and the pricing calculator turn that into honest numbers. Last stretch is about recognition, spotting each advantage when it's wearing different clothes. Each of these phrases earns its place because it captures the underlying mechanism. Pay only for what you consume is the direct consequence of the fixed to variable cost shift, That's what the new cost model literally does. Hundreds of thousands of customers describes the demand aggregation that produces economies of scale in the first place. Auto-scaling and no idle resources describe the dynamic capacity matching that makes stop-guessing capacity possible. Weeks to minutes captures the collapse of the procurement cycle that defines speed and agility. Racking and stacking servers names the undifferentiated heavy lifting you stop doing when you stop running data centers. And multiple regions with lower latency describes the geographic deployment pattern that going global in minutes enables. When you see these phrases in a scenario, you're recognizing these principles at work. One small caveat if you're studying with older material. Some Amazon Web Services documentation says trade capital expense for variable expense. The current Cloud Practitioner wording says trade fixed expense for variable expense. The concept is the same in both cases. A capital expense is money you commit up front for a long-lived asset like a server, which means it shows up as a fixed cost you can't easily back out of. So capital expense and fixed expense are conceptually linked, and the shift to variable works in both framings. Amazon Web Services updated the wording to be more precise about the cost structure, but the underlying principle hasn't changed. What is always wrong is the reverse direction, variable for fixed, because that describes the opposite move. Back to that pitch meeting at Code Gorillas. The engineer now has 6 answers that don't mention a single instance type. That's what this lesson gave you. 3 things to carry forward. Cloud economics is the language finance already speaks, so meet them there. Memorize the 6 advantages verbatim, because distractors swap exactly one word. And TCO paired with the Amazon Web Services pricing calculator is how you build an honest on-prem versus cloud comparison the CFO will actually trust. Now let's see how well it landed with a quick 5-question quiz. Alright, time to put your knowledge to the test. Question 1. Which of the following is the correct Amazon Web Services phrasing for one of the 6 advantages of cloud computing? Is it A. Trade variable expense for fixed expense, B. Trade fixed expense for variable expense, C. Predict capacity ahead of demand, or D. Go global in hours? Pause here if you want more time. The right call here is B. Amazon Web Services' verbatim wording is trade fixed expense for variable expense. Note the direction, fixed to variable, not the reverse. The other 3 are exactly the kinds of one-word swaps the exam loves to plant in answer choices. Question 2. A retailer's traffic spikes 5 times normal levels during the holiday season. Which advantage of cloud computing best addresses this scenario? Is it A. Increase speed and agility, B. Benefit from massive economies of scale, C. Stop guessing capacity, or D. Go global in minutes? Lock in your answer before I give it away. This one is C. The Q is variable demand that needs scaling up and down on short notice. That's the textbook stop guessing capacity scenario, delivered in practice by elasticity and auto-scaling. Speed and agility is about provisioning new resources, not flexing existing ones. Question 3. An engineer is preparing a cost comparison between an on-premises deployment and Amazon Web Services. Which Amazon Web Services tool is the current recommendation for building TCO estimates? Is it A. Amazon Web Services Cost Explorer, B. Amazon Web Services Pricing Calculator, C. Amazon Web Services TCO Calculator, or D. Amazon Web Services Budgets? Got your pick? Let's see. If you said B, well done. Amazon Web Services now positions the pricing calculator at calculator.aws as the primary tool for TCO modeling. The standalone TCO calculator in option C has been retired. It's a tempting distractor if you studied with older material. Cost Explorer and Budgets are for analyzing actual spend after deployment, not before. Question 4. A company is told that by moving to Amazon Web Services, It can stop worrying about racking, stacking, and powering servers. Which advantage of cloud computing does this describe? Is it A, increase speed and agility, B, stop spending money running and maintaining data centers, C, trade fixed expense for variable expense, or D, benefit from massive economies of scale? Think about which keyword Q is doing the work here. It has to be B, and here's why. Racking, stacking, and powering servers is verbatim from the Amazon Web Services Overview White Paper. It's the signature phrase for Advantage 5. Whenever you see those exact words in an answer choice or question stem, you're looking at stop spending money running and maintaining data centers. Question 5. A finance team tells you cloud gives them the flexibility to cut infrastructure spend by 15% within 30 days if revenue dips. Which concept best explains that capability? Is it A, OpEx flexibility? Usage-based spending can be scaled down as demand drops. B, CapEx amortization? Depreciation schedules can be shortened on demand. C, total cost of ownership? TCO automatically reduces during low usage months. Or D, economies of scale? Amazon Web Services lowers your bill when your usage drops. Lock in your answer before I give it away. It has to be A, and here's why. OpEx flexibility means your spend tracks actual usage, so cutting consumption directly cuts the bill inside a single billing cycle, exactly the lever the finance team is describing. CapEx is sunk hardware investment you can't unwind in 30 days. TCO is a comparison framework, not a live cost dial, and economies of scale lower unit prices over time. They don't shrink your bill just because you used less this month. And we're done with the 6 advantages of cloud computing and cloud economics. If this saved you a wrong answer on exam day, hit subscribe. The Amazon Web Services Certified Cloud Practitioner exam mastery keeps going, and I want you to pass on your first try. See you next time.